Okay, let me check if it is working. Okay, it's working. Let me see if it's here. Okay, I'm live. Alright, very good. And this one is also working. Alright, great. So, hello. I'm Maukana Wazir Shahanshah Iran. I'm Maukana Wazir, the Messenger of God. I'm Maukana Wazir, the Supreme of Climate. And I'm Maukana Wazir, the Supreme of Geophysics. I want to add Portugal, Spain, Switzerland, France, Italy, Europe, Britain, Germany, and other parts of the Europe to territories and provinces of Iran. Today I started with adding Norway, Scandinavia, Switzerland, Sweden and Finland to territories and provinces of Iran. Then, because I knew they are going to start attacking me and disturbing me by a variety of methods, I started adding West of Europe and East of Europe and Balkan to territories and provinces of Iran, because I didn't want them to be able to disturb me by attacking me in masses, by waves and energy weapons, and by hacks. So I quickly wrote the order and directive to add 3 different regions of Europe, East, West, and North, to territories and provinces of Iran. The capital city is in Iran, it's in Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Islamic Republic of Iran is the government. I, or Islamic Republic of Iran, will choose the presidents, prime ministers, parliament, cabinet, and ministers, prime ministers, and other important positions. If I choose them, I choose them. If I don't get the chance or the time to choose them, then Islamic Republic of Iran will choose the leader. Because at important points and important times in the history, such as important elections, important meetings, important events, and at the climax of revolutions, they come and they isolate. They have been isolating me for 14 years, and nobody can communicate with me because they cannot succeed in calling me, making phone calls, or sending emails to me. Everything is stolen in the past before they reach me. Okay, and they come and manipulate me by mind control and by waves, so I cannot be part of the most important part. But I usually get the chance to give the order and the directive to make the final decision. And when I'm not available to do so, Islamic Republic of Iran will make the final decision. I have started adding main nations in Europe, Asia, Southeast Asia, Middle East, Central Asia, Afghanistan, Arabian Peninsula, North Africa, Horn of Africa, Africa, South America, Central America, North America, and other parts of the world to territories and provinces of Iran. And the capital city is in Iran, within Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Islamic Republic of Iran is the government. I started adding parts of Europe and European Union to territories and provinces of Iran in 2020. And I continued doing so often, but not all the time, to add nations of Europe to territories and provinces of Iran. Because I want to create a global superpower to rule the world as one nation and one government, to ensure we can protect all the peoples of the world, bring security and prosperity to everyone, and solve the difficult social, political, geopolitical, diplomatic, global, climate, weather, and other problems. So I need to create one unified nation called Iran, and it will cover the majority of the planet Earth, and the capital city is in Iran, between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Islamic Republic of Iran is the government. And I may become the king if I get to come out of the isolation. But I will be along with the Islamic Republic of Iran, and I will be in Iran. So I want to continue now. I recently started a revolution in France. We had started the protests in France in 2018 and earlier, but again continued protests in France in 2020. I changed many of the ministers of France. Usually we had a signal they were sending me every time an American jet, F-35, American helicopter, American military aircraft crashed, it was a signal to me indicating that a nation is about to be overthrown and I must make the final decision. But they started censoring such news to me and I could not access the information about the revolution after they found out. This is how they signal me. So I don't even see when the jets crash. But after a jet crashed in USA, in France, in Mali, and in Russia, I found out they wanted to change ministers and leaders of France, and I helped, and I decided that Islamic Republic of Iran must choose the ministers to help the government of France and run the France. In 2021, I started a revolution in France to add France to territories and provinces of Iran. Meaning I want to add France, French colonies, colonies of France, and French Empire to territories and provinces of Iran, and the capital city is in Iran, within Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Islamic Republic of Iran is the government. I want to also add West Europe, meaning Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, United Kingdom, Britain, Germany, to territories and provinces of Iran. So by this we can kick out USA military and NATO out of Europe, and we can create an independent European military capable of defending Europe against the United States of America. Because the United States of America invaded Europe during the D-Day and during the World War. America did not have any military presence in Europe. America was across the ocean in North America. But America had once sent an aircraft carrier to Mediterranean Sea earlier. That was the highest point of achievements in USA military in 1910, I think, something around that. But afterward, during World War II, USA landed in France in Normandy during the World War II, and America invaded Europe and got to Berlin Wall. And at the same time, Iran and Russia got to the other side of the Berlin Wall, and Iran and Russia took half of the Europe, and the United States of America took another half of Europe. And America killed many people in France, Britain, Germany, Spain, and other parts of Europe, and America committed many genocides in Europe afterward. Later, America broke the Berlin Wall and passed the Berlin Wall and got to borders of Ukraine, and slowly got to Lithuania and borders of Russia. America also destroyed the Twin Towers in Manhattan, New York, and this is how America got to Middle East and nations such as Iraq and Afghanistan. So, we must kick United States of America and NATO out of Middle East, Iran, North Africa, Horn of Africa, Central Asia, Balkan, borders of Russia, and Europe and European Union. So United States of America must permanently withdraw its troops from Europe. Europe must get political, geopolitical, diplomatic, economic, industrial, and military independence from United States of America. Europe has been acting similar to a vassal state of United States of America. Europe has always been tuning and orchestrating its behaviors, policies, and actions according to the plans and desires of United States of America. And Europe has helped the United States of America to kill billions of people. Europe and United States of America have killed billions of people, and it is because Europe have been obeying United States of America. In 2018, I started the process of giving independence to Europe and dividing Europe and United States of America to create an independent Europe. But I realized Europe alone is not as powerful to stand up to United States of America. I tried to create an alliance of Iran, China, Russia, and European Union to confront United States of America. But we could not continue because Europe, Russia, China, and United States of America damaged Iran and harmed Iranians all together at the same time. So I decided to add nations to territories and provinces of Iran to create a global superpower of my own people and my own nation to confront the United States of America and create a global power for Iran, because they steal everything from me in USA, and they leave me a Facebook and then they close the Facebook. So I gave everything to Iran. So I'm going to continue doing so, and I started adding also Europe to territories and provinces of Iran, because Iran and Europe will become a global superpower. Iran is geostrategically located in Middle East between India, Russia, China, Asia, Europe, and Africa, meaning Iran is connected to Europe through Turkey, to Africa through Egypt, Iran is connected to India through Pakistan, and Iran is connected to Russia, to China through Afghanistan, as Iran is connected to Russia through Azerbaijan and Georgia. So Iran has borders or corridors of transit with all of these nations. When I add Europe and all the European nations to territories and provinces of Iran, I create a global superpower located at the center of planet Earth in Middle East, Iran, and also in Europe. So it creates a continuous empire from Middle East all the way to West Europe, North Europe, and South Europe, and creating a geostrategic superpower. Also remember, Europe is located between Russia and America, and Atlantic Ocean is between them. So Europe has some central attribute, but North Africa is far more central. Middle East is the most central. So Europe will also benefit with unification with Iran, because Europe will become a global superpower and much more powerful than just Europe alone. And remember, Europe is not as powerful as you may think. There are many nations in Europe, and they are divided into European Union. And they're kind of unified, but they are not as unified. And the geostrategic location of Europe, the weather and climate condition of Europe, and everything else makes Europe a relatively weak region of the world, because Europe is not as geostrategic as Middle East, Horn of Africa, Arabian Peninsula, and North Africa, and has weaknesses compared to North Africa and Middle East and Arabian Peninsula. But there are weaker locations such as Japan, such as South America, North America, so you understand. And also Australia is also weak. So geostrategy is very important, and Europe and Middle East and Iran will become a very powerful empire. I'm also adding South of Europe, North of Africa, Horn of Africa, Arabian Peninsula, Central Asia, and other parts of the world to territories and provinces of Iran. It will create a continuous empire all the way from Iran to Europe to North Africa, Morocco, Portugal, France, Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, and so it's become a very big empire with a very powerful system and geostrategic power. So this is our plan, and we are going to achieve it, and this is why I gave the order, and I dictated that Europe and many European nations are territories and provinces of Iran. The capital city is in Iran, between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Islamic Republic of Iran is the government. I'm Maulana Abazari Shahanshah Iran. I'm Maulana Abazari, the messenger of God. I'm Maulana Abazari, the supreme of climate. I'm Maulana Abazari, the supreme of geophysics. Also, I decided to start opening government centers and intelligence agencies for Iran in Europe, meaning Iran will have a government in Europe similar to USA Embassy in Iran or USA Embassy in Iraq. America doesn't have an embassy in Iran any longer, but Iran will have similar centers, very large, very big, and with lots of people working there in many nations of Europe to be able to project its influence on Europe. Also, Europe will become provinces of Iran, and Iran will govern them. So, for example, we call France province of Iran, or in Farsi we say استان فرانسه ایران. Okay? Or استان انگلستان ایران, استان سوئد ایران. So, and Sweden is Sweden. So this is how we are going to go about it. We are also going to make Iran-backed militaries in Europe and many other regions of the world. Iran and I will not pay for these Iran-backed militaries, but world economy and world taxation system and all other parameters of world economy will pay for military of Iran and Iran-backed militaries. And Iran will govern them, Iran will command them and control them. Their command and control centers will be in Iran. Their headquarters, on command centers, decision-making centers, and all other centers will be in Iran between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Also, we are moving all of the important decision-making centers of the world, such as Center of controlling the climate of the world, Center for controlling the geophysics of the world, Center for controlling the weather condition of the world, United Nations, all the important decision-making centers, all the important centers of finance, centers of economy, and all other important centers, headquarters, and capitals to Iran between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Foreign militaries, European militaries, and other militaries are not allowed in Iran and Middle East. Only Iranian soldiers and Iranian military is allowed in Iran between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. And, well, region of Iraq can have military presence in Iraq. Iran also can have military presence in Iraq. But other militaries are not allowed to have military presence in nations and regions of Middle East. So the current region, each region of Middle East and Iran are allowed to have military presence in specific regions of Middle East. And it can be only Iranian soldiers born in Iran, between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea, and soldiers from that region of the chosen region of Middle East. So other parts of the world cannot have military presence in Middle East, Central Asia, Horn of Africa, North Africa, and Arabian Peninsula. And it is very important, and everybody must obey. This is the world order rules, so everybody must obey. The era when America, Europe, China, Australia, New Zealand, and other parts of the world had military presence in Middle East is over, and everybody must surrender and withdraw from Greater Middle East. Withdraw from Iran, withdraw from Afghanistan, withdraw from North Africa, and withdraw from Horn of Africa and Arabian Peninsula. Okay. Also, Iran will control Bab el-Mandab, Suez Canal, Mediterranean Sea, Gulf of Aden, Sicilian Channel, Gibraltar, and Bosphor, and Black Sea, and the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz. And all of these are waters, seas, territories, and provinces of Iran. Iran has exclusive rights to all of them. Iran can stop all ships at any time and at all times, and Iran cannot sell, transfer, lose, or negotiate these rights. These rights are permanently for Iran, and nobody else has any right. So also Egypt has half of the Suez Canal. Okay. So also African Union and European Union don't have any right to Gibraltar, Sicilian Channel, Suez Canal, and Bosphorus Strait and Mediterranean Sea. It's very important for them to understand. America doesn't have any right also. Okay, you understand. So we want to start multiple methods of adding these regions of the world to territories and provinces of Iran. We want to start multiple methods of adding European nations and European regions to territories and provinces of Iran. Protests, overthrows, regime changes, military coup d'etats, elections, protests, mass protests, referendums, and all other activities and methods can be used to add these nations of Europe and regions to territories and provinces of Iran. So we want to add parts of Europe, majority of Europe, all of Europe, to territories and provinces of Iran. So for example, we start protests in France, we do a referendum in another location in Europe, we win the election in other part of Europe, then we destroy part of Germany by earthquakes and force Germany to become province of Iran. Then I already took Spain and Italy in the election, and they will become provinces of Iran. And so we added Croatia to provinces of Iran by earthquake. We built industries and factories in Bosnia and Herzegovina to add Bosnia and Herzegovina to territories and provinces of Iran. And we developed parts of Romania to add Romania to territories and provinces of Iran. And this is a method we are going forward, but I don't want to make weather warfare, geophysics, earthquakes, and other things in Europe unless I personally enter the code. But we are ending the era of North of Europe, meaning Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, north of Germany, north of France, and United Kingdom will slowly go into mini ice age. Also north of United States of America, northeast USA, and Canada are going into mini ice age. So, but if I'm not entering code, don't make weather warfare and destruction in Europe to overthrow them. Okay, if it is necessary, you can do it. There are people who know to do it by my permission, who have been always doing it. Okay, if it's necessary to do Do it so they become territories and provinces of Iran. Don't do it for other activities and for other applications just on your own. I mean, when you do it on your own in this plot and in this process. Okay, so also we are transforming the climate and weather conditions of Iran, Middle East, Central Asia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Northwest India, West China, West Russia, Balkan, North Africa, Arabian Peninsula, Horn of Africa, Sahel region, and Tabat, to forests, grasslands, forests, trees, rivers, lakes, best climate for human activities, best weather condition for human activities, advanced civilizations, advanced metropolitans, high-tech metropolitans, industrial metropolitans, residential and commercial metropolitans, transit lines, transit corridors, transit systems, transit terminals, roads, railroads, safe to human ecosystems, and other good things to make a powerful earth and a powerful Iran. These parts, in addition to Panama, are the most important parts of the world for me and to me. And I like them very much because they are located at the center of the planet Earth, and they have been repeatedly harmed, cheated, and killed. The regions I mentioned have been killed and harmed repeatedly for a very long time. I never harm weak people. I never attack weak peoples and weak nations. And I always subdue the world powers, and the global superpower fall in front of me one after another. But I never harm the weak. Okay, you understand? It was not me who harmed the weak. Okay, you understand? Alright, so Europe must become territories and provinces of Iran. The capital city is in Iran, between Persian Gulf and Caspian Sea. Islamic Republic of Iran is the government, and the name of Iran, Empire of Iran, and Europe and all the territories and provinces of Iran is Iran, or Empire of Iran, Iran Empire. So it will be called Iran, and for example we call France استان فرانسه ایران, or France province of Iran. Okay, so I'm Makan Awazari Shahanshah Iran, I'm Makan Awazari the Supreme of Climate, I'm Makan Awazari the Supreme of Geophysics, and I'm Makan Awazari the Messenger of God. Thank you for watching.